Thousands of people are waiting for me to get up in the morning, and my phone doesn't work, won't charge. Now, the standard thing is turn the phone off. The phone won't turn off. I can't turn my phone off. Now, the phones of yore used to have a little hole in it. You stick a pin in it, and it kills there's no hole in the latest phones. You can't, when the phone says I'm not turning off, you can't turn it off. That means it'll die. That means I don't even know what airline I'm going on.
Here's William Shatner.
Thank you. People introduce me.
They say, well, how do I introduce you? Just do it simply. But here's William Shatner is a little too simple. I mean, come on. We know who you are. Hi, everybody. Welcome back to Pittsburgh. Down front here. Well, you have no idea. I've been to Pittsburgh on and off over the many years when it was an industrial city and as it emerged to being a park city. But I was here at some of the universities doing research on a book that finally became known as I'm working on that. I went to all the advanced places in the university to find out what they were doing. This was many years ago, and they were saying, well, this is going to be part of the future, and this is going to be, and I wrote it, and we've long since surpassed what the universities were working on, but which leads me to remind you, I'm sure you've heard it more than once, that because our unions, the actors and the writers union, are on strike, and the strictures that the union has given us about what we can and cannot do is kind of muddied. It's like nobody quite knows what you can say and what you can't say, and the last thing you want to do is be it's called a scab, and you know what happens when you pick your scab. Not a delightful image. So I want to be very careful. I've got a number of things I'm doing this year which verges, and I'm talking to the lawyers at the union. If I do this and if I do that and if I avoid that, well, maybe you can, maybe you can't. So the worst thing in the world would be to have your brother say you were working while we'd starved. So I don't want to do that. So, we don't have a scab here. What do you call the antithesis of a scab? A wound, a sore. Okay, so I absolutely. I've been a member of the union for a long time. So, what are you going to say? What are you going to do? A number of things have happened to me this last few weeks that I think are so interesting and amusing that you might agree with me. So the thought was technology. Now I'm in a hotel doing amusing and working with people, and I'm in my hotel room ready to go to bed and wake up the next morning and have a full day of things I had to do. And I've got my phone. So I got my phone. My phone has my airplane ticket, has all the appointments I've got, has the names of the... I don't even remember, for example, I don't look at the airline that I'm going to tomorrow. I've had enough trouble with the airline I had today. So I don't know what airline I'm leaving on tomorrow. That's how much information I release to my technological phone. We all do. You don't even remember. Somebody will say, what's your phone number? Oh, God, what's my phone number? Because you don't dial yourself. You press a button and the phone rings. Everything is in your phone. You're tied to your phone. Technology, we've lost our way. So I'm sitting in front of a television set, another technological thing. It's time to go to bed, and I get up and plug my phone in, and the phone won't plug in. The charge light won't go on. Now, I've set my alarm. The front desk of every hotel is questionable as to whether they'll call you or not. How many calls have you? Well, if I miss a call, I've got 1,000 people who are waiting for me. 10,000. This is a small crowd. Thousands of people are waiting for me to get up in the morning, and my phone doesn't work, won't charge. Now, the standard thing is turn the phone off. The phone won't turn off. I can't turn my phone off. Now, the phones of yore used to have a little hole in it. You stick a pin in it, and it kills there's no hole in the latest phones. You can't, when the phone says I'm not turning off, you can't turn it off. That means it'll die. That means I don't even know what airline I'm going on. We've lost our way. So I gambled, and I put on the flashlight, and I put the flashlight down. Now, I've got to get up about 4 in the to start my day. And I go to bed, and I've got the flashlight on, but face down, so the flashlight won't. But I'm going to figure that when the flashlight goes off, the phone is dead, and then I can plug it in. So for the first hour, I'm looking over at the flashlight. It's still on. I'm thinking, how long can this battery last? I'm 3 in the morning. I'm looking over the flash. Finally, it dies. And I scramble up and I plug it in and it starts to charge. I've got it. So now I've got the phone working, but it's not working well. I can't hear out of it sometimes. Sometimes I can. I dictate, so sometimes I'm dictating in English, but sometimes it's in German. I don't speak German. I mean, the phone is acting up like you plugged me in, you beat me because I wouldn't turn off. You got me, but I've got you because I can't trust the phone. I finally get home, and I go to the Verizon shop, and I say, I need to trade this phone in because I don't trust the phone. So they give me a folderol about it. Finally, I decide I'm going to replace a phone that I've lost. So I've got it insured with the lost phone, and they say, we'll deliver it to you in a couple of days. It's my backup phone. I wait and wait. Days go by, and we keep calling the place, and they say, well, it's been shipped out, but it's been refused. The new phone has been refused. Why? Because the driver won't cross the picket line. So I'm stuck with, there he is again. This union guy is right there. Union. What I'm telling you is technology has got us. Let me tell you a few more instances. Many years ago, I was asked to go to Australia to do something. I forgot what it was, something nice, and they said, if you come to Australia, you can do anything you want. Whatever you desire to do in Australia, we'll make it work. So I said, well, at that time, and I don't do this anymore, I used to hunt with a bow and arrow. I was pretty good as an archer. I competed in archery somewhere in Detroit and all, and I used to hunt game that we would eat. So it was all right. I don't do that. Long time since I've done that. I don't want to kill anything, but at that time it was what I did. So I said, I'd like to hunt. They said, well, I'll tell you what. They said, the real pest in Australia is the wallabies. They're like little kangaroos. And they're bigger than rabbits, but they're like our rabbits. They eat the vegetables. And they're destructive. And they keep trying to get rid of the wallabies, at least control them. They said, we'll take you hunting for wallabies on the island of Tasmania. Wow, Tasmania, a island. Huh? And I said, I like to fly. I was a pilot. I'm not current now, but I was a pilot then, and I had done a lot of piloting. I'd done sail planing. I did a lot of flying. I loved flying. I said, I love to fly. He said, we'll get you an airplane. We'll go fly. We'll get you a pilot. Great. So first thing was Tasmania. Now, an archer judges by seeing. Like from here to the end of this room, I would judge to be 50 yards, say 50 yards. So the arrow arches, and when it leaves your bow, it kind of goes up in the air maybe a foot, and then if you're aiming it, it rises into an arch and then comes down, and you have to allow for all that. So sight is critical to launching your arrow. So now the wallabies come out in the evening, and the guide is with me, and we're lying on the ground, and there's a big copse of trees there where the wallabies are, and they come out at sundown. So we're lying back waiting for the sun to go down, and then I hear, what's that? That's the wallabies. They're coming out now. Now, I got a bow. If there's anything that's not technological, it's the bow and arrow. It's totally sight. It's totally natural. You're using the forces contained in the bow. Arched bow has the energy of you pulling it back, and then the string, and the arrow is really, it's totally natural. Except you need to see the game. And as I'm waiting for the wallaby to come out, the sun sets, and I can't see the wallaby. It's all over. End of the no bullet there, no technological help there. Stopped. Went to a fireplace and ate hot dogs or whatever it was. I said, I like to fly. They said, we got a pilot for you. I meet the pilot. He says, I've got a twin-engine North American Rockwell plane. He said, we got it from Los Angeles. I picked it up in Los Angeles. I flew it myself from Los Angeles to New York, from New York to London, London down through Europe, down through Italy, down through, got through India. I've got to go to India, down to the Philippines, over to the Philippines, down to the and I got to Sydney. I flew it, Bill, myself. I knew exactly where I was. I triangulated. Technological. I know. I'm a navigator and a pilot. I said, great. I fly Cessnas, and I sailplane. I know air drafts, columns of air drafts, and so. Oh, look over there. There's a thundercloud way over there, and I know about thunderclouds. They get updrafts and downdrafts, and a sailplane is totally natural. It uses the forces of nature. Let's fly into the thundercloud, and he says, okay. Well, and we fly into the thundercloud. Up and down and up and down. And finally we emerge after half an hour. And he says, listen, I flew this airplane from London, there was heading down the thing in the Philippines. I finally got to Sydney. I knew exactly where I was at each moment. I don't know where we are. So we fly someplace, and he finds a runway, and we start to land, and we see people waving at us. I think they're waving at us, but I discovered later it's the flies. Their flies are flying into their eyes, and they're trying to wave the flies away. I think they're flying. I think, hey, somebody told them I'm on my way. No, it was the flies. We land at a place that it turns out to be a place called Cooper Pedy in the outback of Australia, one of the hottest, meanest deserts in the world, the outback of Australia, Cooper Pedy. And that's the opal capital of the world. And finally we fly out of there, and he says, this is terrible. I got lost, and I didn't realize it. I'm doing something, I'm not going to tell you what, maybe you've seen it, that pretends to be in Mars. They chose Cooper Pedy to look like Mars. So a few months ago, I spent 25 hours getting to Cooper Pedy because that's where they decided to have the location of this show. And I'm pretending to be this master of technology. We've landed on the moon. This is moon stuff. While I'm in Cooper Pedy, I say to the driver that's driving me around, I said, I'm a city boy, and everywhere I go, there's light pollution. What I haven't seen ever is the magnificence of the Milky Way. I want to go to a place that has no light pollution, and lie back and enjoy what I've seen pictures of the Milky Way. Here we are in Pittsburgh. There's light pollution everywhere. You can't go anywhere that there isn't a light. We don't see the magnificence, the awe, and the wonder of the universe. Let's go. He said, okay. So now he gets me in the car and we start driving. And I'm thinking, Cooper Pete is 3,000 people. It's a town. It's a little tiny town. And we're in the middle of the outback. And he drives for half an hour. Then he turns right and he goes along a dirt road for another half an hour. We're driving an hour to get out of light. There's no light. I said, where are you going? He said, I'm going to take you to a place that's holy ground. The Aborigines bury their dead there. It's a holy place where the dead live. It's a perfect place to see the magnificence of the Milky Way. He finally stops. He turns off his light. Now, it takes about 15 minutes to get your eyes back, get your full sight back. So I step out of the car and I sit down. There's a bench there. I sit down on the bench, and I'm waiting. And slowly the stars that you never see are starting to come out, when all of a sudden, way down where we came from, are headlights. What the hell? And the headlights come closer, and finally, it's a car stops right beside our car with the headlights shining in my eyes. Light pollution in the middle of nowhere, in the middle of the holy ground. These people are shining their lights at me. And I'm like, what? And I hear this woman's voice say, hi, is this the holy ground? Is this where the dead are? And I went, welcome to the dead ground. This is where we bury our dead. Turned around, went dashing down, got out of the way, and I finally saw the awe and wonder of the... So no technology, and I was able to see the magnificence of our universe. The magnificence of the universe. So, I've thought a lot about the Webb telescope. Our planet is burning. I don't have to tell you. The latest on the news is Hawaii is burning, for God's sake, of all the places. Global warming. So, forgive me, I don't know who else is in the audience, but global warming is here. And there are certain aspects of our government saying we're going to defund the EPA and go back to burning coal. It's the absurdity, the insanity of that. I happen to know. I've been an ecologist ever since I read Silent Spring 60-odd years ago, and I've been preaching about it for a long time and getting more and more passionate about the fact that we're at an existential point in what we've done, what our technology has done to the planet. The opposite is true, too, though. This part of our nature, of our mind, which wants to kick the can down the road. You haven't made your mortgage payment. Oh, really? I haven't? All right, honey, let's go to the movies. Just so you won't have to think about it. And I think that's what's happening. What is portended with global warming is so horrible. We know, well, let's not even think about it, and we won't even think, and we won't. But the other part of our minds is the Webb telescope. $9 billion to put a telescope into orbit 1 million miles away in a backwater of gravity called Lagrange. they've given that name, I don't know why, to an eddy, if you will, of gravitational force. There was a time when I was doing a program quite frequently called American Sportsman, and they would put me into all kinds of weird situations. One of them was and I'd never kayaked before, and talk about natural and non-technological things. It's a kayak floating on the top of the water, and you sit in the kayak, and you have a paddle, and all the forces of nature. So the force of nature of the kayak in a river is going down river. So the current and that energy takes you down river. But how did they come back up? How did the Native Americans, for example, come back up? Well, the friction of the current on the shore causes a backwater. And if you stick close to the backwater, it either isn't flowing as fast, or in some cases, there's a back current, and there's a current that'll sweep you upriver. It's the same thing with the gravitational forces. The Lagrange area is the gravitation is less. So somehow our scientists park the Webb telescope in a Lagrange, and it uses less energy to keep itself in orbit. We have put up the Webb telescope in a desire for pure knowledge. There's no other reason these telescopes exist except to examine the universe, just to feed us in our curiosity. It's the most absurd thing. We're fighting a war, a deadly struggle, using all our natural resources to kill each other, and up above them is a thing devoted to entirely curiosity. What does that star mean? So I've followed it quite closely. I'm with all of you, maybe even a little more, about my curiosity about the heavens and what the stars are doing, and how they fulminate, and how they meet, and how they mature, and how they explode, and this driving energy of what purportedly is 12 billion years old, our universe. We think, on the other hand, we've made that observation because the telescopes have long since discovered a galaxy 13.8 billion years as far as they can see, so they think the universe is that age. But in fact, the answer to a question I've never had, the answer to the question I've asked that I've never had the answer to is, it's taken 13.8 billion years for that photon of light to reach my retina. Where is it now, 13.8 billion light years later? Where did it go? It's gone somewhere. It's extending. The universe is expanding instead of contracting. There's all kinds of mysterious forces at work in the universe. The awe and the wonder of the universe is extraordinary. We shouldn't be not aware of it for all our lives. That and the miracle of Earth. So, I was asked to go in a spaceship into space. And my first reaction was, well, wait a minute. Bezos and his brother and a kid, some young man, and an older astronaut who didn't make it into space have gone up into space. I'm not going to... Who wants the vice president if you've asked the president, right? I mean, I don't want to go second. I'm not going. I've got a book out there now called Boldly Go. And the theme, I think the theme of Boldly Go is say yes, be adventurous, take advantage of the opportunities, whatever they are, to sit in a seat, to come into this show, to go explore coming here from the town, from the city of Pittsburgh. The GPS took us on an alternate route. instead of going along whatever the number of that highway was, it took us into, and I said, where are we going? We're going to be late. Well, it turned out it was okay. But how many times have you been on a GPS ride that's taken you every which way? You think, wait a minute, I've been this way before. But we trusted the technology, and GPS took us here. So I thought, what am I doing? Why don't I just say yes? So that morning, when I was thinking about maybe I should go, I called and said, I'll go. So now I'm being called to go on a Monday to the to where the rocket is, the rocket port, if you will. And I'm there on a Monday morning, and there's nobody else there. Everybody else is coming on Tuesday. So why am I here on a Monday, guys? Oh, no, I went on to have some breakfast. Well, but why? Why am I? Nobody else is here. Why am I here? Oh, okay, so it's mid-morning. Why don't we go out to the place where we're going to shoot the rocket, to the scaffolding there. What do we call it? The what? No, what do you call it? The launch pad, but what's the name of the gantry? Thank you. The Elmer gantry, right? So it's the gantry. So let's go look at the gantry. Okay, let's go look at the gantry. So we get in a truck and we go 20 miles, and there's the gantry. No rocket. The rocket isn't prepared yet. That's coming up. But the gantry. Okay, we're going to the gantry. The place is at 4,000 feet, and so it's like Denver almost, like 5,000 feet. So I'm there, a little breathless, just standing around, and they said, well, let's climb the gantry. So I climbed 11 flights up the bloody gantry. Why do I want? No, let's go. We're gonna. Okay. So I get up 3 flights. I'm sucking in air. 6 flights, 9 flights. Finally, I'm at the top of the gantry. I'm at the top of the gantry, and I'm looking out along in the desert there, and right alongside on top of the gantry is this room with the door open, and I look at it, and it's a room maybe this stage square, and it's got walls 12 inches thick. I said, what's that? I said, well, that's the escape room. Escape what? What do you escape from? Oh, in case something goes wrong. In case something goes wrong? What are you talking about? What could go wrong? Well, if there's explode, there's air in there and there's telecommunications, and if something goes wrong, just close the door and it's air. What? Nobody told me something could go wrong. Why am I? And then I realize, of course, they wanted to see whether the old guy could make it up 11 flights of stairs. That's why I'm here. So finally, everybody comes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and we rehearse the practice getting into a chair. So the chair that they're going to supply us is all like horizontal like this, because we're going to face weightlessness. And yeah, that's probably George Takei. It's called a Zetz. A little Zetz. So we practice because we're going to get into weightlessness. And weightlessness, they say to us, in the middle of weightlessness, you have a few 30 or 40 seconds to get back into the horizontal chair, because the G-forces on you coming back will be extreme. You could hurt yourself. So you got to get, not only that, you got to get into a 5-point harness. And the most difficult part of the 5-point harness is not this shoulder or that waist or that waist. It's the crotch strap. Okay? So you're lying like this, and you're trying to find the hole. Come here. Come here. Yeah. Come here. Turn and face the audience. You look beautiful. Okay. You know about trying to find the hole? You were laughing, I thought, so heartily. I wanted everybody to see how you were cackling. That's what I wanted to show. Thank you so much. I'm sorry to bother you. Yeah, right. So I can't get that damn thing in there, and they say, well, you got to practice. I never did get it. So now it's the time to launch the rocket. We're all there. Press is there, and I'm in the capsule, and there's a countdown, and the guy says, T-minus 17, T-minus 14. Hold the launch. There's an anomaly. An anomaly. Anomaly means something's wrong? Yes, there's an anomaly here. We're holding the count. What could be wrong? Because I imagine many of you have seen the film I have seen, films on the Hindenburg. The burning of the Hindenburg. It docks in New Jersey and they extend a line down, and we now know that static electricity went up that line and across the metallic surface of the lighter than airship, and there was leakage of a gas called hydrogen. Hydrogen in the airbags of the Hindenburg caught fire. And there's this famous footage of little people running to escape the flames of the burning hydrogen. Oh, the humanity of it all, says an announcer. People running to save their lives. You know what they filled our spaceship with? Hydrogen. And there's an anomaly. And I'm thinking, how do you get out of here? And all right, that's okay. We could go. It's no more anomaly. T-minus 13. All right, everybody in there. We're going to remove the gantry, and this is God's truth. If anybody wants to leave, they should leave now. And I'm sitting in this horizontal chair trying to find the slot, and I hear you should leave now. And I swear to you, I had one foot up ready to run when I realized, hey, I'm Captain Kirk. I can't do that. So I stayed. And up we went, G-forces and all that kind of thing. And then they said, okay, we got 3 minutes of weightlessness, and we unhooked, and everybody was playing games. Jeff Bezos, I love him. He's a great man, and he's a wonderful guy, very, very loving gentleman, and I interviewed him. We spoke well together. But he invited this teenager on that first liftoff, and I saw footage. They have cameras everywhere. I saw footage. And on that weightlessness moment that Mr. Bezos, one of the richest men in the world, and this teenager were doing in this magical moment of weightlessness was Jeff is floating on his stomach with his legs apart, and the camera's shooting this way and his legs apart, and the kid is throwing candies at his ass. And I knew I wasn't going to do that. I knew I was getting to that window as quickly as I could to see everything that was to be seen. I looked behind me. For some reason, I was looking back, and I could see the wake. I've never heard this discussed. I could see the wake through the air that this spaceship was leaving, like a submarine underwater. I'm like, God, nobody's ever talked about the wake through the blue air. And then I looked up, and I saw space. And the reason I was talking about the monumental, the awe and wonder of space before was, so I'm this fan. I'm this mesmerized human being about the awe and the wonder of the universe. I've seen pictures. I pour over pictures. I've talked to scientists and what does this mean and what does that mean? This moment that I saw space from space it was black. There was no burning stars and galaxies and phenomena, physics phenomena. Nothing of that. It was black. As if you've ever been in a cave and they've shut the door, that black is like you lose your sense of balance. It's so black. That black was death. And that planet, this little rocky, you see it. It's a little rocky planet. It's nothing. You can see the beginning of the curvature. You could finish the curvature of it. It's nothing. The rock and the air. Pilots know that you can't go above 12,500 feet because there's no more oxygen above that. You're in a death zone, they call it. So we're on this little rock with this 2-mile-high air, and that's what we're living on. And we're dirty. We're crapping on our planet. We're defecating on our homes. And you suddenly become aware, my God, 2 miles? You can walk 2 miles of air and this rock. And then we're these little things on the rock. And we're in a solar system which is small, beside a sun, a star that is kind of smaller than average, in a galaxy that is kind of nothing compared to the billions of galaxies out there. We're nothing except we're observers. We're conscious enough to say, my God, look at the magnificence. There aren't words to describe the vastness. Whole galaxies come together, meet, plow into each other, and like in our case of the Milky Way, which has crashed into something, it didn't affect anything. Maybe the tail of the galaxy. So stars are so far apart that they can go past each other and not affect each other, which is what happened at least once in the Milky Way's life. That's how vast it is out there. And we're not only tiny rock, we're tiny bacteria on the rock. But what we are observers. We put up the Webb telescope to observe that. We're witness to this incredible sacredness of existence. I'm working right now, and in fact, next week, I go in to record a children's album that I have an album out there now called Call Me Bill. Dan Miller of They Might Be Giants wrote some of the music. A friend of mine called Rob Chernow is the poet who did the lyrics based on ideas for songs that I presented. The three of us are a team that did Call Me Bill is the name of the album. We're now beginning to record a children's album that I don't know what we'll call it. The basis of the children's album is the entanglement of life here on Earth. So, for example, one of the songs is about an elephant and a termite. Let me tell you one small example of the incredible entanglement of life on Earth, which means, because there has to be life, mathematically there has to be life in the universe. The entanglement of the universe is reflected by the entanglement on Earth. And the entanglement on Earth is reflected by termites and elephants. So the elephants walk the prairies. What do you call the grasslands of the Pat, no, Serengeti's one of them. Okay, so the flatlands where nothing but grass and bushes grow, say in Africa, where the elephants live. So elephants find themselves walking along the flat ground, and for some reason, we can imagine, they get itchy behinds. The little asses itch, okay? In the same area, termites live, and they find special kind of clay that they chew and build their mounds, their homes, which become mounds 8, 10 feet tall. And they're like air conditioned because they've got holes in them, and they fan them with their, like you're fanning now here, they fan the holes, so it's air conditioned. And the termites live there in these giant mounds. Along comes an elephant, sees the mound, seizes the day when it sees the mound, and destroys the mound, but it satisfies the itch. Since it's trampling around on that mound of masticated earth, it's a little hollow. The rains come, water collects. There's George again. The elephants and other animals wallow in the little puddle of water. It gets to be a bigger hole. Over the years, it gets to be bigger and bigger and bigger. And finally, it becomes a watering hole. And as we know, birds flying by have fish eggs caught in their feathers. That's how alpine lakes have fish in them. They land to get a drink of water. Fish become alive in the water. Animals from all over come to drink. It becomes a place of rest, of danger, where animals feed, and they relax, and it becomes a whole thing because of the interaction of an elephant and a termite. And that intertanglement takes place on Earth all the time, everywhere, among us, human beings, among animals everywhere, among entities that are all living things are bound up together. That's what my children's album will be about. We've got all the songs. We're going to record them, start to record them next week. My point is, everything lives because of each other. Take one element away, and like a knitted scarf, it begins to unravel. And we're unraveling. We are starting to stop, and we've got to stop right away because we're in an existential race between nature and technology. And technology is wonderful when it works, like my phone. But when it doesn't work, we're screwed. And technology doesn't work all the time. Okay. So, that's that moment. Now, are we set up? How am I doing for time? That? Okay. Here's what I'd like to do. I'd like somebody to put their hand up and ask me a question. Yes, you right here. Stand up. And in the loudest voice, oh, look who's got
Here
technology.
Technology.
No, put your mouth right on that mouth. Right, no, that's 6 inches away. Right there.
Right here?
Right there.
Okay. So speaking
Even
of music,
closer and louder.
speaking of music,
Speaking of
music, you're singing.
music and singing.
I absolutely love the song you did with Joe Jackson, Common People.
Yeah, Common People, yeah.
I was wondering, do you have a favorite song that you did?
That's great. I will do 5 minutes on my favorite song. I recently, well, a while ago, entertained at Kennedy Center, and we wrote our own music. That team of Rob Chernow and Dan Miller and I had written songs, involving nature, and so it was a natural for Earth Day at Kennedy Center. And we recorded a number of songs, one of which Rob Chernow, who is, in my opinion, a poetic genius, wrote a song along the lines of stuff that I had suggested. It's called So Fragile, So Blue. And as you can imagine, it's about our blue planet that is so fragile. We have chosen that song to be a music video. And so in the near future, you will hear of So Fragile, So Blue as a 12-minute music video in which, in my fantasy, I will have celebrities repeat the words that I say on the song. The song is all about the fragility of our planet and a litany of all the beautiful things that we'll miss if our planet self-destructs. And entwined in So Fragile, So Blue is the phrase, what can we do? And I play what can we do in all ways of playing it. What can we do? What can we do? And finally, at the end, I say it as passionately as I can. What can we do? And the music video ends in that way. I want celebrities to come on that music video and say to themselves, what can we do? What can we do? Thank you very much, everybody.
Yes. Give it a, oh my gosh, the amazing, the legend.
This is Captain Zap Brannigan. I prefer to call myself Admiral Zap Brannigan. I'd like to draw your attention to that sexy subscribe button, those curves, that triangle. Like Leela's eye. Click it. Ah, that was great. Follow fun and have fandom and yabo.